My name is Thea James. I am an emergency medicine physician here at Boston Medical Center. I'm also the Vice President of Mission and the Associate Chief Medical Officer. I am from Alexandria, Virginia, and I came to Boston for residency training. You know, during the interview process, it was like an instant sort of a connection. When I left, I felt different. Something was different. I couldn't really put my finger on what it was. It was somewhat intangible, but I felt like this is where I really wanted to be. And again, you know, the place at that time was not as built up as it is now, the facility and everything, but there was something about the energy of the place, something about the people I interviewed with. There seemed to be some kindredness somehow. DC, when I was growing up at that time, was about 75–80% African American. And so, you know, it was not unusual to see black professionals every place. It was not unusual to get on the metro and see, you know, black people, you know, looking like they were headed to some place important, you know, work or something. People, not that there was no poverty in DC, there was poverty, but by and large, the federal government, because it was there, it was like an anchor institution on some level. When I came to Boston, it was very, very different for me. You know, the notion that people would be, you know, that people would encounter people wondering who they are and if they had a right to be in a certain place. You know, the notion that people would like follow people in stores or, you know, have different ways of treating different people based upon what they look like. You know, that was a new experience for me. And my parents, which is what I meant to talk about, is that they never talked about it. They made a conscious decision, in retrospect, that's what I think, they made a conscious decision not to talk about it. And I think it's because they probably didn't want me to create some internal ceiling for myself. I mean, as a matter of fact, I was not allowed to describe people by color. You know, that was something, you know, that, you know, punishable for. You could be punished for that. So I was not allowed to describe people by color. My mother was always saying things like, you do whatever you want, you be whatever you want. She also felt the same way about gender. You know, she felt like gender was no obstacle to whatever it is you feel like you want to do. Diversity to me means opportunity to achieve excellence. Because from my perspective, I'm a very collaborative person. I'm always, you know, curious, very curious and interested to know multiple perspectives. I want to know how different people think about different things. And I feel that when you have that many, the more diverse perspectives that you have at a table or in a room, the greater opportunity you have to achieve greatness. We need providers. We need people in allied healthcare. We need people in media. We need people in, you know, every aspect of every job on this campus. We need diverse people in these roles. When a diverse population comes to this hospital, they need to see themselves reflected around the campus as well. I can't tell you what it feels like to see yourself, you know, when you go someplace and what that actually feels like. There's an unspoken familiarity that happens, and you don't even have to say anything. People know, people get it. Sometimes it's in the eye contact when you see someone on the street. Sometimes when I walk in a patient's room, sometimes they'll say, "You're the doctor?" And, you know, and they'll say, "I'm so proud of you." And, you know, sometimes they'll say, "I've never seen a black doctor." And, in here, I've never seen a black doctor here or something like that. We are doing a lot on campus to try to achieve that, to achieve diversity that is on the patients, on the provider side, to match what we have on our patient side. You can ask many people in this organization why they are here. And sometimes you don't even have to ask them. But if you talk with people for any length of time, people will all say that they are here, working here for the mission. And I always ask, what does mission mean? Is there a general consensus, or is it subjective? And I sort of think that generally people work here because they have a privilege and an opportunity to take care of patients who are vulnerable. But I challenge myself and everyone else actually to take mission to the next level. Because when people come here vulnerable, we wind up working downstream. We wind up patching up the various different gaps that they have in their lives that are either driving cycles of perpetual, unstable, chronic illnesses, or preventing them from moving from where they are. And so we wind up doing things that are in some ways permanent temporary fixes. For example, if we give someone 6 months of a voucher to go to our food pantry, that's a temporary thing. But I would challenge us to, at the same time, we're giving that person a voucher, enabling and connecting that person with a workforce development resource person to get them into job training and employment. So that the goal is for them to, the food pantry is a bridge to get them to the place where they can buy their own food and become independent. To me, that's what mission is to change the trajectory of a person's life and their perspective on what's possible for them. And you not only change them and, generations of their life, but also generations of their children's lives. As part of, being a vice president of mission, part of it is in working with my colleagues who are here, as well as working with colleagues and community-based partners out in the community, working with other organizations who are service providers, people who are interested in and who have a goal to actually transform communities and strengthen communities, transform neighborhoods, and promote equity for people, so that you wind up working upstream and you mitigate all the risks that lead to downstream. So I feel that we have an incredible opportunity to move from what we've done so well for so long to actually taking things to a higher level. We can become and be an anchor institution for the communities that surround us.